Ever witness symptoms firsthand? It's not something you can easily detect. It starts with a shiver, an itch, a slow boil, the biological side effects feeding into paranoia, and the paranoid brain feeding the side effects. A downward spiral. There is no shutting off the heat no matter what you do. It'll boil over. You don't believe me?
I didn't say that.
We all know Pandorum is greatly affected by any substantial psychological trauma. It has an emotional trigger effect.
That's what they say.
How do you think you would react if you knew the truth?
The truth. About what?
The opening clip you just saw was a scene from Pandorum, a psychological sci-fi horror film with strong themes of paranoia, distrust, mistrust, technology, entertainment, isolation, the whole works. Another quick thing I should explain is the difference between distrust and mistrust. Put simply, distrust is situational, mistrust is personal, and oftentimes you'll see instances of both in movies or TV shows that play with paranoia and trust.
I understand that it's felt like every man for himself. If we're going to get out of this, a little fucking solidarity goes a long way.
Why the hell should I trust you?
Listen, lady, we don't want to.
Are you really part of the flight crew?
It seems that over the last 20 years, themes of paranoia and issues of trust are commonplace in pop culture and particularly within the entertainment industry, although entertainment and technology are immense factors inside the sensations and sensitivity of the 21st century. At the core of the dilemma, paranoia and trust problems are not new to human interaction, and they're not new to technology or the entertainment industry. Examples mixing technology and trouble have deep roots in various science fiction productions from the 1980s, but precursors to the indicative and somewhat prophetic sci-fi of the 1980s built on sci-fi from the 70s with works such as Logan's Run and THX 1138, and those drew from concepts that could be found in sci-fi productions from the 60s, like Star Trek and 2001: Space Odyssey, and even the iconic 60s sci-fi scene drew heavily from the 50s, with The Twilight Zone and science fiction theater, and one can even go as far back as the early days of silent films with high-tech sci-fi concept motion pictures such as Metropolis from 1927. But how did this all come to be? How did we get here into the 21st century? Well, the rise of the world we know today is greatly thanks to the socio-economic advancements of the Industrial Revolution. As production of the essentials in life became easier, it would lead to a new world that would allow for advanced forms of both automation and leisure. And despite the various economic and political upheavals of the 19th and 20th century, entertainment and technology would become not only available to the people, but commonplace. The utilization of technology enabled new forms of enlightenment and delight, but perhaps most importantly, one heavily favored form of entertainment that would come into being in the late 19th and early 20th century thanks to the industrial progress is that of motion pictures. By the time much of the dramatic dust within the first half of the 20th century settled, we found ourselves in the 1950s, and as the forms of the old world began to fade, a new form was inevitably to come. Nuclear power and space travel was only the beginning. In many ways, it wasn't that far outside of the basic fundamentals of what technology had already been doing for us, providing advanced forms of destruction, efficiency, and travel. But it was nothing that previous basic technology hadn't already been doing. Technology was still just a tool. But World War II would usher in a revolutionary new thing, a self-operating machine that could be programmed and interfaced with. A computer.
No, I'm not playing alone. Who is my opponent? A machine. A thinking machine. An electronic computer that can analyze my moves and select the most logical defense. Is it accurate? Well, out of the 2 games we've played today, the machine has beaten me twice.
Here we see a clip from the 1950s science fiction theater. The host, Truman Bradley, is playing a game of chess with a computer. In fact, this particular episode, Negative Man, has a great bit of focus on humans interacting with supercomputers of the time. And science fiction theater is just one example among many in the ongoing decades. But really, the shift into the world we now live got into gear during the 1980s, which underwent a drastic shift with the socioeconomic status of technology. It was the rise of accessible interactive technology available to the public at large. Between the home computer and home video game consoles, a new shape of massive interaction mixed with technology was taking place. Naturally, these interactive technologies began to stifle human interaction.
Poor baby, you're starting to lose it, aren't you?
New psychological forms of addiction have been on the rise from the 80s on to the present day. People afflicted with internet addiction, video game addiction, addictions to our mobile phones. You'll notice in general that the science fiction genre provides some examples of problems that are indicative of today's world, but often sci-fi from the 20th century seemed a bit too verbose and grandiose. It always felt somewhat outlandish and more on the periphery of reality and not a genuine prediction or interpretation of our current world or potential future. A decent analogy I thought of to say is that science fiction productions during the 20th century felt more like works of art and less like photographs, whereas science fiction over the last 10 to 15 years has felt more like photographic interpretation and prediction, that is to say, more accurate to what our current and ongoing world looks like. Themes of isolation, anxiety, paranoia, distrust, alienation, it's all reflective of reasonable concern within today's world. Movies such as Pandorum and Europa Report entail what feel to be more realistic depictions of space travel.
Shit. We should get him in the lock at a VCAM meeting.
We can't. There'd be too much risk of lingering contamination.
We gotta figure out a way to get the suit clean. It's not coming out. I'm totally screwed.
Andre, get in the lock. We need to depressurize our suit now. Then we'll figure out how to get James in.
Seriously?
And other films such as Ex Machina and Her are strong depictions of AI interaction as well as examples of stifled human interaction, obviously due to the technological overcast.
Are you social or antisocial?
I guess I haven't been social in a while.
How would you describe your relationship with your mother? Thank you. Please wait as your operating system is initiated.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi.
Have shown you, I don't know, a redo of the side of his fridge, something like that.
Spot the difference.
You're drunk.
I'm the difference.
Contemporary TV shows such as Black Mirror and Mr. Robot tackle more on the social media and invasive tech aspects in both the real and cyber world.
Consider yourself warned.
In an age where everyone is connected and privacy is becoming harder to protect, Mr. Robot has shined a light on the risks and the realities we all face every day.
The writers have tapped into the paranoia that we all now feel, that all of our information is just ripe for the taking.
And even the social media and cyber world lash out against itself. Viral videos such as the Look Up campaign and Autocorrect Humanity were heartfelt and viral, but other than the obvious call of unplugging and disconnecting, neither narrative really provides a solution as much as it instills a powerful feeling. And if the solution is to unplug and disconnect, it only really works if the majority of the population does so. But at this point it seems we're in a nightmarish technological paradox. We're too interconnected by technology to disconnect with it, and at the same time we're too disconnected by technology to interconnect without it. An example of this interconnected-disconnected paradox can be seen instantly within this all-too-real recent McDonald's commercial.
Woke up L8, freaked, then remembered McD's all-day beef fast, hashtag boom shakalaka laka.
At McDonald's, yes! Hashtag all-day breakfast, so good.
Yo, McDonald's serving breakfast all day now? 5 gold hand emojis, hashtag Bay.
At cows go Mookie, post show.
Dear at McDonald's, thank you for serving all-day breakfast. Heart emoji, everyone on earth. Retweet. Favorite your retweet.
This commercial is staggering to me and a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Now, you could say it's just a joke, that people aren't really this bad, it's just an intricate satire at the zombification of society and the mind-numbing droll of cyber communication overshadowing the face of genuine human interaction. But this is a commercial for McDonald's. Why would they be interested in making a statement like that while trying to sell all-day breakfast? Moreover, what really terrifies me is that it's terrifying that this commercial is normal or acceptable in some societal way. But already I can imagine someone saying to me, You're reading too much into that McDonald's commercial. It's not trying to be serious or make a statement. I know it wasn't. This commercial is quite on point, simply being representative of contemporary society, but it just feels like a wax museum of mannequins and not a commercial made by mankind.
Let me ask you something, Doc. Does thinking you're the last sane man on the face of the earth make you crazy? Because if it does, maybe I am.
Yet, what's more terrifying is that we all see what's going on. What's worse is we just seem to accept it. Paranoia, addiction, disconnection, isolation, it's just the new human condition, and sadly, it's all validated by the cyber swamp we've created and rely on. But you know what? I'll let you in on a secret. I don't have the solution either. Perhaps the answers are obvious. Put down your phone every once in a while, limit your usage of internet and social media, don't text and drive. Those are basic answers to obvious issues we have with technology, but the crux of the matter is recognition and adherence. Step one is seeing what the problem is, or in this case, recognizing the technological disease, acknowledging that you and likely everyone around you has it to some degree, and then simply adhering to the words of wisdom, which is to let it be. Maybe we can't kick this tech addiction, but we can certainly be mindful of it, respectful of it. You know what? I dare you. When this video is finished, just close out all tabs or put down the phone for the next hour. Just go outside or grab a sheet of paper and just draw. It doesn't matter if you haven't done either activity in years. Just go outside or go draw. Just for an hour. No computer, no phone, no TV screen. Give yourself this occasional daily liberation from the technological madness. And if you succeed in doing this, tell me how.
Perhaps it is, it's been a while.